Lundin Petroleum is with us now. The Chief Executive is Ashley Heppenstall. Ashley, welcome.
Thank you.
Lundin Petroleum is a company which is focused in and around Norway and the North Sea. Just quickly, before we go into more detail about what you've got in terms of assets, outline your strategy.
Yeah, well, we're very much we're a fully integrated exploration, production, development company, but we strongly believe that the value creation comes from exploration. In that respect, over the last 10 years, Norway is where our major growth has come from. We've probably been the most successful exploration company in Norway over that period.
Yes, I've got something like a 50 times increase in.
Yes. Yeah, we
value,
raised $50 million of equity capital in 2001 after we sold our previous company, Lundin Oil. And since then we've raised no cash equity, and the company's grown today to a size of over $7 billion market capitalization, generating operating cash flow per year of about $800 million and EBITDA of about $1.2 billion. So it's been quite a ride.
How much of this is being funded by existing production?
Well, right now we generate $800 million of cash flow, but also the Norwegian fiscal regime is extremely attractive for people to explore, because for every dollar you spend, you get a refund from the government of 78 cents. Similarly, when you're developing an existing discovery, the government pays 93 cents in the dollar,
right,
which makes it extremely attractive for growth companies like ourselves, in that we don't have to go and raise external funds to deliver our growth, which obviously impacts upon creating shareholder value.
Lundin Petroleum is also moving into Asia, that's correct?
We are. Our predecessor company, Lundin Oil, which was sold in 2001, was very successful in Malaysia, finding 1.5 trillion cubic feet of gas and 150 million barrels of oil. And 5 years ago, when we were looking to replicate the Norwegian story, we chose to go back to Malaysia. And we recognized that again the majors were leaving Malaysia. We recognized that the host government, Petronas, were very oily, knew the industry. And we also recognized that there was limited 3D seismic shot in the Malay Basin. So we've gone back, built a business from scratch, and it's now starting to reap its rewards. We announced another discovery there last week, and I'm really confident that Southeast Asia is going to maybe not be as successful as Norway, but even if it's a quarter successful, it will create a lot of value.
Just very briefly, I said that to some degree some of your operations are being funded out of existing production, but you are taking on a bank facility, aren't you?
We have, yeah. Of course, the banking market's gone through its problems, and therefore we were very pleased this year when we concluded a $2.5 billion financing facility. We received commitments of $4.7 billion from the banking market, and we concluded this deal at less than 4% all-in cost. And I think all the major energy financing banks are in that syndicate, and it really secures Lundin Petroleum's funding to develop our projects over the next 5 years plus.
And of course, some people perceive that as all part of risk. How do you perceive the risk that you are facing at the moment, whatever it may be? Where are the risks to oil production, oil exploration these days? Where are you finding this? Yeah,
well, the risks are diverse. Exploration is not an easy game. Like you need to take a very long-term view. You're going to drill dry holes, and that's always the case in our business. Liquidity risk is one of the issues which always trips up independent oil companies. You've got to take a very conservative position, because oil prices do fall, they do increase. But I think Lundin Petroleum has now got to the stage where we can see our production doubling in the next 4 years and then doubling again in the next 4 years. And so the future looks very good for us.
You mentioned the oil price. What are your views on that at the moment? There's a lot of tension in some areas of the world where a lot of oil is produced. What about the oil prices you look out for the next 6 to 12 months or so?
Well, 6 to 12 months is difficult. I wish I had a crystal ball. I think clearly there are aspects moving in different directions. We have geopolitical uncertainty, as we've seen recently in the Middle East. At the same time, we've still got a very weak economy. And at the end of the day, it's demand, economic growth is going to drive demand for hydrocarbons. But I think people often forget the supply side of the equation. Our industry is really struggling to keep up with this phenomenal demand, and therefore, whilst in the short term it's very difficult to predict, medium to long term, I'm absolutely convinced that oil prices are going to increase even further.
Okay, well, I wish you luck at Lundin Petroleum anyway. Ashley, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Ashley Heppenstall is the CEO and President of Lundin Petroleum.